I'm gonna. Okay, stop sharing. Okay, so hopefully we'll be okay.
All right. So it is time for the presentation to start, the workshop to start. My name's Monica Ketchum Cardenas, and I'm a professor at Arizona Western College. I'm the moderator for today's workshop. This workshop is Historias compartidas, a culturally connected OER for heritage Spanish speakers. And today we have our presenter, Julia Oliver Rajan. She's an associate professor at Northwestern University, specializing in Spanish for heritage speakers and experiential learning. She coordinates the Spanish Heritage Track and created Del Capital al Futuro, a Puerto Rican digital archive. Julia's work includes translating Tales from the Barrio, authoring Amigos de la Comunidad, and publishing research in Hispanic linguistics. She actively serves on university committees, co-chairs symposiums, and pilots open educational resources to advance heritage language education. So I will be keeping the time and looking at any questions that might come up in the chat. And I'll give you a 5-minute warning before our session is over. But
Okay.
now I welcome you, Julia, to take it away.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you for everyone who's here. And we start here. So this is my OER project, Historias compartidas. And it comes from the questions and this type of students that I have, like type of student as like Alice, that most of the time he is caught in these two worlds, no, the world in Spanish at home and the world in English outside. And I like this because it covers everything that we do in a heritage class. No, I was born in a quiet rural Texas town. On the outside, and on the outside, English hit us through the window like a thief waiting to invade, but it was there at home where our language survived. For my family, Spanish escaped our mouth like bullets, swift and silver cover bouncing off the walls like worms in the summer, never to escape the house. So this is the type of student that comes to heritage speaker classes. And the question is, how does language shape a person's sense of belonging and cultural identity, especially in environments where one language is dominant over the other? And in this case, English is dominant over Spanish, no? Because like Alice says, Spanish had the only space for him to speak Spanish was at home. So when they come to the classroom, you want them to have that sense of belonging. And that was one of the questions that I had when I built my heritage speaker classes is how can I make your language important in this classroom? So I came to Northwestern University in 2022. And by the 2021, they have the formation of a track, especially for heritage speakers. And in this track, there are two courses. One is intermediate and one is advanced. And I usually teach the advanced course. So the other professor, my other colleague who teaches intermediate, we were having this question, like how can we make this curriculum so they feel comfortable and a sense of belonging. So in 2022 we won 2 scholarships, and we started to have OERs, one for intermediate and one for advanced. So in 2023, we are starting really hard on how to create a unique OER. And the unique OER is with the input of the students and students as creators of this OER. And this happened because we were doing projects outside the classroom previously, and then the most fun that they had was when they were in the community, when they were visiting, for example, Humboldt Park or La Villita or Pilsen here in Chicago. So we wanted to integrate that experiences into the OER. So it's an OER for heritage speakers and by heritage speakers that is constantly evolving. So, how can an OER empower students to see themselves as both learners and knowledge creators? And that was the big question for this. And one of the things is about the one of the projects that they have in this OER, that is to go to the community, interview people, and gather that information. And then that information is going to feed the book, the OER that they use. And in this project, they needed to interview people around the community and around the Spanish speaking community, and also take photos and analyze how this community uses the language. And in this case, we use these photos in the classroom to talk about language. Now, why is in so-called Spanglish, or why is in code switching? Why do we need code switching when you live in the United States? And then we also talk about gentrification, things that are happening in urban areas where uh, Spanish speakers, young Spanish speakers, leave the the, the Spanish speaking communities, and the whys. No, so we analyze all this. So the solution for integrating their experiences and their language into the classroom was to create these OERs. My colleague is creating voces compartidas, which is more about grammar and more about how to use the language, vocabulary. And then Historias compartidas is more empowerment and reading and writing to go to a higher level courses in literature. Because we couldn't find like materials that integrated that experience that we wanted. So how is this OER structured? Well, it has 3 modules, 12 lessons on each module, and then it has 3 writing workshops and 1 final project. And I'm gonna stop sharing my PowerPoint, and we are gonna see the OER that we would like. Okay. And I hope everybody can see it. So here is the OER, and is divided in 3 modules, like you can see. Okay. And then here we have the taller de escritura. The first one is about personal experiences, a descriptive technique on how to do a title, how to reflect on their ideas. And here are the topics of that first writing. And then they have 3 projects. The first one is one about food, that we will talk a little bit more about that. We start with a brief uh, story that is La Sopa de Piedra, stone soup, that is a very common childhood story. And from there, we start building a sense of community, no? Because anybody can make sopa de piedra, no? So after they read this story in the first day of class, they all need to find an ingredient in the classroom, and that ingredient needs to reflect your identity, or the place that you're coming from. If you're Mexican, if you're from Colombia, if you're from Puerto Rico, so you need to identify yourself with the food item that you are going to give your compañero compañera to make that stone soup. And another feature that this OER has is that while they're reading and they build up their vocabulary. For example, if they don't know tacaña, then they go there and they will see what is tacaña, no? So it's a very interactive book that they can they can find out right away what is that word. And also, of course, they have comprehension, and this is to build community. They need to choose 5 words and create their own sentences, and they need to go through to the classroom to find ingredients for this soup. And then these lead to Proyecto Uno, where they need to videotape themselves doing a recipe or making a recipe that they like, or interviewing family members doing that recipe, and they need to and the product is a short video of less than 5 minutes doing that. And here are some of the products that we have. So, and students, all the students can see. Okay, so uh, okay, so I'm gonna stop sharing this. Okay. And the other thing, well, like we discussed, La Sopa de Piedra, and another thing that builds up their community is My Spanish by Melissa Lozada Oliva, and also Mate de Pelo, which is a documentary. Okay, so we will go and see those. So this is the content, and then we will need to go here. Okay, this is so this is My Spanish, and in My Spanish they know about code switching, and it's an introduction for their second project, and it's the project that I presented previously, the one that we used to do before we have an OER. So because that's one of the project that they like the most. So here they start always with something broad, like how do we divide Spanish in different dialects, and they need to have research about that, and is to start a conversation. And then here is a brief summary or synopsis of what are they going to hear, a little bit about the poetisa, and then before that, what is Spanish for you? How is your Spanish? Describe your Spanish. Why do we use code switching? And then they start watching the video.
We're not getting any audio, so I think when you share, you need to, there's a little square you need to click so that we can hear the audio.
I'm sorry?
We're not hearing any of the audio.
Oh, you're not hearing any of the audio? Okay,
Yeah,
where?
so when you share it, there should be
Uh-huh.
where you can share
Okay.
the video and audio.
Okay. Share. To
Should be a
share
little
audio.
at the bottom, on the bottom
Yeah,
right, there should be a couple of boxes where you can optimize for video and audio.
I don't have it.
Hmm.
Also share audio. Okay.
Yeah.
I got it. I got it on other tab. Okay. Let's see. Let's try it again. Okay. Hopefully this time will work. Okay. Can you hear it now?
No, it's still not coming through.
Oh my.
Not yet.
Hmm.
I'm looking for instructions, but there is an option in there for the audio when sharing. Give me just a moment.
Okay. Okay. There will be one. Okay. Let's see. Let's see. Okay, I don't have it here where I'm sharing. I have it in another in the entire screen. Hmm. Okay, let's see if this
limp, is reaching for words and only finding.
Yeah, I can hear it now.
If you ask me if I'm fluent in Spanish, I'll tell you that my Spanish is an itchy phantom limp, is reaching for words and only finding air. My Spanish is my third birthday party. Half of it is memory, the other half is that photograph on the fridge, is what my family has always told me. Si me preguntas si mi español es fluido, te diré que mi español es un rompecabezas, olvidado bajo la lluvia. Too soggy to make its parts fit together to look just like that photograph on the box. My Spanish is proper nouns dressed in
You're muted now.
I need to stop. Okay, I'm not. Oh, wow. So if I share something, I get muted. Okay. So okay, let's stop sharing. And then so the author, we just keep talking about the author until that introduces the part of grammar, and then I'm gonna share the part of grammar. Okay. So okay, and hopefully, yeah, I'm still with sound. Okay, so then this one introduces the project, and is the project about going to communities around Chicago that speak Spanish, and we have a brief introduction of why this is important, and there are other communities like in Lorain, Ohio, and the objectives, and then we make the groups in the classroom, and then the different steps to go through this. Um, and then after that, we they have a brief introduction to ser, estar y haber, which many heritage speakers have difficulties with this. And then always we have always puedo, the I can statement, because in this way they kind of self-evaluate why what they are doing, and what they need to refine maybe. So here we introduce Ser Estaría Ver with the same poem that they saw before, my Spanish. Si me preguntas si mi español es fluido, why are we using es, no? And they need to tell the rules of es in this context. Mi español está en mi cepillo de dientes, hay letras, etc. And then we go through how we use haber, how we use estar, how we use ser, and then we have a funny statement phrase about Shakespeare, because many times we don't hear Shakespeare in Spanish, and then they don't know arremetidas. Okay, no problem. So there is the meaning of arremetidas. Also, well, we have we continue with estar and ser. And then we have these that they can do in the classroom, or they can do as an assignment. And we have activities, we have interactive activities that they can fill out, and they are automatically correct this. Identificar diferentes personas, pues ser, origen nacionalidad, ser, características permanentes, etc. And then they can just check. Okay, and then the other thing that I would like to show about building community is topics about different communities that sometimes we don't talk about. For example, communities like the Ladinos, Sahrawis, and Chinos. In many textbooks for heritage speaker or for Spanish, we don't talk about that they're Jewish people that left Spain in the medieval times and in the times of the conquest, and went to Puerto Rico and the Caribbean, and still those communities exist, and they speak the Ladino or Judeo Español. And we have here a podcast that they can hear and gather more information about la comunidad sefardita in Puerto Rico, and how this language sound and the lexicon. And then we have a sample of how Judeo Sephardi sound. And well, maybe I will have the same problem about the sound, but it's just tell me if you cannot listen to it, and I will listen to it.
No, it's muted.
It's muted. Okay.
Yeah. So
I need to tap other things too for that. Okay. So it has videos, and and then maybe in the question I will try to put the sound. And also we have the Español Saharaui, which is a very sad story. Is they are in the northern Africa, and in 1975, when Franco was no longer the dictator of Spain, it left this community in the limbo until today, no? And they are refugees, but this is a Spanish community too, also. And also the Spanish community of Chinese in South America, especially in Cuba and Mexico and Panama. So they need to do research about this community. And in Northwestern, I had many students who are Chinese and Colombian, Chinese and Peruvian. So I want them to be part of the context and the topics that we cover in the Spanish classes. Another topic that is also very important for the community of heritage speakers that comes to Northwestern is the Afro Latinos, and that one is through a documentary called Mata de Pelo, which is a documentary. First of all, we have an infographic about the percentage of Afro descendant in Latin America, and we talk about that first, and later we go into the summary of what they're going to see and why this is important. And here is the documentary they watch. It's like a 35-minute documentary, and they need to answer some questions, and these questions they need to come prepared to the classroom to have a conversation about this. We have more investigation about this, and it's with pelo chino. Why in Mexico they say pelo chino to hair that is curly, and they need to find out. And there is a story about Junco Ogata Aguilar, which is a children's book about pelo chino. And not necessarily they need to read this children's book, but it motivates them to look and do more research about these topics within their community. Later on, we talk about the contribution of Africans into our Latino Hispanic culture with music, of course, and then dances. We have a little bit about the bomba in Puerto Rico, about religion and spirituality, and of course, gastronomy and words that are in Spanish that are that came from um, Africa. Also about fashion and identity, and then we again talk about identity. And I also have students who are Afro-descendant in my classes. So I think this is very pertinent for them, and they feel part of the course. And also they contribute. Many of the information that I have is from the students. So then the next part, I need to go to the PowerPoint. So I go to the PowerPoint now. This changing PowerPoint and then okay. So then I have things like that are more technical about the language, like Marcela. After every taller, they have a borrador, and it's peer reviewed by other students, and I also give my input, but I don't correct it thoroughly. It's just observations, and then they have, after the peer review and my suggestions, they turn in the final draft, and then that one I correct, and I have a rubric, and I make comments, and this we cover this in class. You need to check this lesson, things like that. And then after that, they need to self-evaluate themselves. And it's the method that I call 3-2-1. And they need to think about three things in the essay that they did right. Then two things that they need to improve, and one thing that they didn't know and they understand now, and because they did the essay. And it has worked really well in my classes because before this curriculum, I had and I don't know about you, but I had always 2 or 3 students that made the same mistakes or repeated the same mistake in the next composition or in the next writing. And with this method, I see better improvement, and I think it's more of a self-reflection. So it has worked really well. So this is one of the self-reflection, part of the self-reflection. And Marcela said, I need to make a clear thesis statement in my introductory paragraph. They work on, I need to work. I mean, it's a mistake, but it's okay. I need to work on my grammar, such as narrating in the past and the gender rules. So these are things that she needed to improve. So many of this curriculum work around the needs of the heritage speakers, and is a combination of my experience teaching heritage speakers and also their input. I did a survey about certain things in the grammar that they have difficulties, and it appears that they have more difficulties in the ser, estar, haber, and the perfective and imperfective forms, and also the phonemes, like me with an accent, me without an accent, el with an accent, those that are one syllable, they have more difficulty. So I'm going to go back to the OER. And so let's see. Okay, here. Let me see if I can work it from here and you can hear the sound. Let's see. Let's try this. Share. Oh. Okay. No, it didn't get it. Okay, well, let's go here. Okay. So for example, we have we already saw ser, estar, haber. So let's go to the perfective and imperfective form. And here, the difficulty is that many of them, they understand and they can form really well preterite and imperfect, but it is about that sense of where I use preterite and where I use imperfect. And for that, I have the song of Jose Jose, Lo Pasado Pasado. And while they hear that song, they can read it, no? And we exaggerate many things, like for example, amé, sufrí, lloré, todo quedó en el ayer, ya olvidé, ya olvidé. So, and this song makes them feel that sense of perfective, no, that it is inside a box. And that's what I tell them. Pretérito pasado, imperfecto, pretérito perfecto, all those are in a box. So here is the combination of of uh, of verbs. So the preterite is in a box, and I put it in a box. And then imperfect is like a wave. I'm gonna put it there. And then imperfect is like a wave. I do not have a wave. Oh, maybe I don't. Maybe I forgot to put it, or maybe no. I think it's down. Okay, it goes down. So here they have interactive activities also, and they have like variations in the preterite. So for example, there are many communities that instead of fuiste, they say fuistes with an s at the end. And of course we have a conversation about this is like many communities apply regulate this verb, and instead of fuiste they say fuiste, because since in the to form many verbs and in s, so they put this s. So but it's not a type of criticism on the way many of the students heritage speakers speak. Is a way of having a conversation and a why, no? And then we go through the most difficult, which is the irregular verbs in the preterite. And then in the imperfect is like a wave. So they have this understanding that preterite is like a box and imperfect is like a wave. And of course, there are glitches in the OER, like you can see here. So I need to repair that. So, but it has worked very well, this methodology. And of course, they have the traditional tables and stuff. But many of the examples that you have here is from them, from the students. And then we go to the homophones. And the homophones, they have a lot of fun because I have also a song there. I love songs and I love videos. Um, they give a lot to the classroom, and to a conversation for the students. So here are the homophones that are one syllable. Those are quite difficult for them. So we start with an activity, and this activity, they can do it at home, they can do it in the classroom, we can have a conversation. And we also have competition, like one group who can do it faster than the other, faster and correct, no? And then we explain what is the purpose, the grammatical categories of these homophones. And also we have a song that is an euphemism about té, and then is tomando té, and it leads to a conversation on the importance of accents in Spanish. So I wished I could do this that you can hear. Let me try. Let me try the others, the other section that is here. And now I cannot share with sound. Okay. Well, I cannot share with sound. Okay. Well, we'll keep doing this. So and then after that we have like a wrap up in the classroom, because I want them to know more about the explanation of the function, the grammatical functions of these monosyllable words that are homophones. So I tell them, well, if somebody asks you why L has an accent, what are you going to say? And then you need to have the vocabulary to explain and say, well, ¿por qué es un pronombre sujeto? ¿Por qué es un artículo definido? ¿Por qué es un adjetivo posesivo? So they have that knowledge and they build up that knowledge. So I'm going to stop sharing and I'm going to go to the PowerPoint because we are almost at the end. So we already know about this. I explained that. And then I have Juana, no? And Juana in the, I love that poem, My Spanish, because when we have this conversation about identity, they really understand that they are not alone. And I love this that Juana said. Now I understand the struggle with identity better, because before this essay, I didn't know it was a common challenge. Thanks to the poem, My Spanish, and my classmates' essay, that's when they read it, because they have peer review. I know that I'm not alone in this journey with bilingualism. So the takeaways that we have is that when you have this type of almost personalized curriculum, you increase the engagement and ownership of the materials. You have a dynamic, evolving resource that shaped by students, and they feel part of it. It creates a sense of belonging more in the classroom, and then it fosters an inclusive pedagogy and a community building. And this is also that they that they can use for the final project. And the final project is is that they have a list. This is something that I should talk about, because it seems for us here at Northwestern, after this course, they are going to go to literary courses that are mixed. So I'm going to share now. Okay. Mm. So they, at the beginning, the first week, I said, you have a proyecto final, and there's a list of novels, and they need to read why this is important, because as Krashen 2004 says, when the more you read, the more vocabulary that you acquire. And it doesn't matter if it's a big book or a short, but the more you read, the better. So I have a plan throughout the trimester, which is 10 weeks. So we will start this project in week 2. And in week 2, they need to self evaluate where they are in reading in Spanish. And of course, they need to consult with me, and they think, oh, well, maybe an intermediate high, maybe an advanced low. And then I will tell them, yes, no, maybe. And then after that, they need to find a novel that they like, and then write a brief summary, and choose 5 words that are new for them. And this is something that they need to start doing throughout the novel that they read. Then the analysis of the character, a deeper understanding of the novel. Then we work on the thesis and on the body, and this all built up from the previous essays that and the previous talleres of escritura that we have had, and so forth until the end. And then after, and now we are going to week 9 next week. So there's a revision and editing of the second draft for this final essay. And finally, on week 10, we have they need to turn in the final essay. And these are the lists of suggested novels that they need to read. For intermediate, I have a list of novels, different topics, different authors. I also have for LGBTQ plus topics, for war, historic. So I have a variety. So they need to choose from these, or they need to say tell me, oh, I would like to read something that is on the list, and then I will say yes, that's a good choice. So they after they do that, then they go through the structure on how to have an argumentative literary essay, and that's basically their graduation, no? And I can say that they do, because of this methodology that is a project-based project, work evaluation, they do pretty well. And finally, we are almost there. Oh, where is the? Oh, I don't have the. Okay, now. Okay. And finally, I would like to leave you with this. Heritage speakers are not just learners of Spanish, they are co-authors of their linguistic journey. And that's what I would like to continue doing. And every trimester, I try to put new projects into the OER. And hopefully I will have more projects to come. and yeah, it's an evolving project. Every trimester I change it. I add something, I take out something. So this is a very dynamic thing, and is for them and made by them. And I will leave it here and we can have a conversation, reflection, questions.
Thank you so much, Julia. Does anybody have any questions? And we're such a small group that you can unmute.
Yeah, you can unmute. Yeah, we are 6 participants. So
Gabriela says she tried to looking up your OER and press books and open books, but access
no, because it's not public. No, it's not public yet, Gabriela. No, it's not public yet. It's gonna be public. Hopefully this May. This May is in the piloting period. Yeah, that's why it has weird stuff still, like in the format, because we are gonna publish. Is now like students who are in the classroom, they can see it. They are is available to them. But since we are piloting both books, it's not public. It's gonna be public in hopefully May, if not June. So, but by next fall, it's gonna be public. It's gonna be open for the public. Yes, yes. So wait for it. We are still in the piloting period, but I'm glad that you like it and it's gonna be useful, and that's the purpose. And you can, yeah, and maybe who knows, maybe we can be an inspiration for other professors of heritage speakers to do things like this.
questions.
Yes. Any other questions?
Comments.
Yeah, comments, questions.
So I do have a question. So I don't know if I missed it, if you covered this earlier. So you have the OER for heritage speakers, and are you developing an OER for just non-heritage speakers, just traditional Spanish?
No, no, only for heritage speakers is for the track. No, because since we wanted, first of all, we wanted project based, and then we wanted something that is relatable to the population that comes to Northwestern, and that's how the OER was born. And we wanted the same for both courses, since it's a track and it's only a track of 2 courses. And the benefits of having the heritage track is that they can skip 2 classes, and then with these 2 classes they can directly go to the literature classes. So what is that? My faculty. Thank you. Yes, yes. So yes, Gabriel, yeah, just definitely it will be there. It will be there in this year. This year will be available to the public, and just write down the name, Historias compartidas, and then the intermediate is gonna be voces compartidas. So we wanted the topic that is like a continuation. So voces is more about building vocabulary, and historias is more building writing, reading and writing.
Any other questions or comments? Anyone else developing OER in Spanish language? As we have about
10 minutes. Yeah.
10 minutes left. So even if you don't have any questions, if anybody wants to just start a conversation about any challenges or successes that you've had with OER for modern languages, unmute and talk.
That's true.
I don't have much to add to this conversation because I teach history. So,
Oh, okay.
but I'm sure there might be others that have some experience.
Well, one of the challenges that I have building this is that if you place too many graphics or many photos, then it slows down the OER. So that's why I try to keep it more. The videos are hosted in Panapto, and then from Panapto I just take them, because if not, it will be very very slow to. And then what you saw about the projects from other students, I host those in Panapto, and then from Panapto I link it here. That's one of the things that will make the OER more rapidly available when they click. So, and it's something that I learned from experience. So Gabriel is open.
Hi.
Hi.
I wondered, how are you finding, or what are you doing for more short stories with an OER in Spanish?
With short stories, I have El ahogado más hermoso del mundo from Gabriel Garcia Marquez. That I incorporated that. And then I have viñetas from Sandra Cisneros, The House on Mango Street. And these are suggestions from students, because they say, I love The House on Mango Street, and then they're like, okay, let's have something about that. So I think it's dynamic, and I think it's generational. Like this generation, like these topics. Maybe let's see in another 5 years. Maybe I will change the topics, because it's everything that I'm doing is because I ask the students, and through surveys, through conversations, through things that they have read, and then I incorporate that into the OER. Yeah. So just ask your students. No, you're asked what, because I think education needs to be fun, and you need to start talking. Of course, there are things in the curriculum that you need to make sure that they have, no, but you can incorporate those things with topics that they like. No, for example, we have a lot of population of Jewish people, so I wanted to incorporate something that they feel that they're part of this class. I have a lot of Chinese heritage speakers that come now, that one of the parents is Chinese and the other is Hispanic. So I want them to be part of this course. I also have many Afro descendants, so I wanted to be part of this course. So make the course available to them, and topics that they feel, oh wow, this is my class. This is really my class, because it makes it better, more fun for them to learn about the technical stuff about grammar in Spanish, and it also gives a sense of belonging. So ask your students, make the curriculum from the student's point of view. Yeah. So anything else?
Hey.
Are you
Well, we can wrap up a little bit early if there's no other questions, or if there's anything else you'd like to share, Julia. We're all ears.
No. I mean, it has been a challenge. But I think this is kind of the way of the future now, more personalized education, And now with AI, things that also get better. I have used AI for photos in the OER book, so that was helpful. Things that I couldn't find in on the internet. So ideogram had made it for me. Of course, you need to say this is made by AI, but that part has been a learning process for me too. So
Okay, well, thank you for sharing your project and your expertise with us, Julia. Mil gracias. We're really happy to have you here. And we are wrapping up about 5 minutes early. So you have an extra 5 minutes between this session and the next session, which starts at 1, so I'm in California, so I'm saying 1:40, 2:40. So you have a couple extra minutes. And thank you for joining us today, and enjoy the rest of the conference.
Yes, thank you. Thank you for having me. Bye.